Okay. I was saying that you guys asked me earlier this year, can Cal Raleigh get into the MVP conversation? And in my eternal hubris, I was like, no, it's Aaron Judge. Of course not. And I'm an idiot. This is the year that Cal Raleigh introduced himself to the world, and the world fell in love with Cal Raleigh. And he has been Seattle's secret for a long time. And as somebody who lives outside of the Seattle metropolitan area, I just want to say thank you for sharing this gift with us, because Cal Raleigh's awesome. The home run derby was awesome. Everything he's done this year is awesome. And you just hope that a season like this can be rewarded with more than what the other Seattle Mariners have given us in the past.
Well, so we'll in turn say thank you, because the column you wrote, the article you wrote on him, the piece was great. I mean, it was really excellent. Awesome new insight and cool stories, and you went in depth, and I really enjoyed the heck out of it. You also got to be on the field as Cal was doing his thing. Hopefully he wasn't too distracted by your red suit, but he's out there doing his thing, and all the other players are reacting to it. Brock and I talked a little bit about how, his authenticity is in his humility, but it doesn't come off, and Brock made a good comp. It doesn't feel like Ian Kinsler, who hates everybody else who's new and fun. Cal's just who he is, and Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neill Cruz, and those guys can be who they are. And it was cool to see some of those differences without having to pass judgment on it. What was the vibe like amongst the different guys who were out on the field at that time?
It was really interesting because he literally beat Brent Rooker by an inch to stay in the home run derby. Like, that's how close we were to Cal Raleigh not even making it past the first round. And so I think there was some gratefulness there, and just seeing the Raleighs, plural, interact with people. Todd Raleigh, his dad, sort of stayed off to the side. I think he was trying to keep cool because it was just so hot down on the field. But T. Raleigh, like, what a stud. That kid is just turned 15 years old. He's bigger than Cal already, by the way. And the fact that he was among all of the players and not acting sheepish or overwhelmed, but like he belonged, and the kid saved me, because I got to be honest, in my red suit, which, by the way, I thought looked pretty good, I was put in a position that I never thought I would be, where my voice would be resonating around an entire stadium. And I was so nervous. I mean, I told this to Cal yesterday. I was like, dude, I really wanted you to win, but if you lost, it wouldn't have been too bad, because I wasn't going to be doing the interview then. And there are parts of my job I know that I'm good at, and one of them is not asking questions live on field, particularly in front of 40,000 people. And the one question that I was sure was not going to give a good answer was the one to a 15-year-old, because 15-year-old boys are idiots, and they don't have anything insightful to say. And I asked T. Raleigh, what was the perspective like, and what did you see from the best seat in the house? And the kid said, greatness. It was the best one-word answer I've gotten in my 25 years in this business doing this. And thank goodness for T. Raleigh. Thank goodness for Cal Raleigh, Todd Raleigh, and all of them for really being accommodating and gracious and bringing not just Seattle, but the whole viewing audience a really cool moment.
So help me understand and answer this question that's been pinged to me by a lot of now casual baseball fans that are just captivated by this Cal Raleigh story. And that is, hey, how does a 28-year-old do this? How does a guy in his fourth year in the big leagues do this? Even the esteemed Mike Salk didn't have him on his most intriguing list, because we thought we knew who and what Cal Raleigh was all about. There were 1,000 at-bats at the major league level. How is he at this age, in this stage, been able to take this step, Jeffrey?
To suggest that there's like a firm answer to that, I'd probably be lying. But I did ask Cal, as I was reporting this story, some different elements that I was noticing, and whether putting them together is just like a narrative crutch by me, or if there's actually some reality to it. But I think if you read the story, you see this person who in his past had slights, and those slights fueled him. Like, one detail I didn't include was, how he didn't make the team in middle school. The last two people who were picked ahead of him were like twin girls. And so Cal is, he has that happen. He's told in high school he's never going to play catcher, or never going to play in college. He's told in college he's probably not a catcher long term. He's told, you should pick a side to swing from because you're not going to be a switch hitter. So you have like all of these things building on top of each other, and he gets this like really thick skin to deal with it. He deals with some issues, early on in his career, not just of failure, but of belonging and of being part of the clubhouse. There's some people in the clubhouse who are giving him too much grief. So you have all these different things that he's overcoming. And finally, like, he figures out, hey, I have all these wins under my belt. I've figured it out by working harder than everybody else, by putting in the time, by caring about people. And I think when he signed that contract, guys, it unlocked something in him. I think it freed him up. And it's weird to say, you get $100 million plus, and it makes you better, because we've seen so many cases where people get the money and they rest on their laurels. I think it was different with him. I think he didn't have to spend any time thinking about the future, because the future was made already, and it was made through that work, and it was made through the diligence that he did when he sat down with Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander for 2.5 hours this spring in full uniform, asking them questions, absolutely peppering them about the future of the Mariners franchise to ensure that he was comfortable with where they were going and that they were putting together a championship caliber ball club. And I think all of that combined, the confluence of it has just freed him up to be the best version of himself.
Yeah, it's a really great story. And it's funny, I talked to Jim Abbott yesterday after his documentary came out this week, and there's some similarity there, right? Like, would you have made it if you had two hands? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. And for the right person, that need to overcome things really can be a spectacular motivator. And obviously two examples there in which it's worked really well. Speaking of that, how about these Mariners doing some of that themselves? Like, every time you want to be like, oh, you get swept in New York, you're bad. They turn around and score 35 runs in Detroit and just blow their doors off. We're 2 weeks away now, 2 weeks from tomorrow, from the trade deadline. I'm rooting against Arizona. I'm rooting against Minnesota. Let me throw a bunch of names at you and tell me if there's any hope for any of these guys. Obviously, Gino Suarez, Josh Naylor.
Yes.
Do you have to talk Willie Castro at third base? Is Jose Ramirez is there any chance Cleveland will ever deal Jose Ramirez?
None. Don't bother spending time talking about it.
All right. So we're back to Gino and Naylor.
Yeah. I mean, it would be perfect. And I think it would make this team right there with every other team in the American League that has World Series aspirations. Detroit, they're 25 games over 500. I know they got absolutely sunned by the Mariners, but I think you can see beyond that series what the Tigers have done over the first half this year, and you can't ignore it. But does that trade or a trade for even one of them put them up there with the Yankees? Yes. Red Sox? Yes. Rays? Yes. Blue Jays? Yes. Astros? Yeah, I think so. I just think the Mariners are going to be aggressive, and I think they should be. You don't take years like this from superstars and waste them, period. And I think the Mariners front office knows that. Like, we can't ever expect a season like this from Cal Raleigh again. It's unreasonable, right? I mean, we're looking at comparisons, and I said this in the story. It's not just the numbers, guys. It's the fact that we are talking about Cal Raleigh being up there with Barry Bonds, with Ken Griffey Jr., with Mickey Mantle. Like, these are luminaries in the sport, and he belongs. And so when you get a season like that, don't waste it. Do everything you can, because once October comes around and once that guy steps in the batter's box, he can do magical things.
Jeffrey, last minute here. Biggest takeaway from the 2 days that you just spent at the All-Star game from your perspective for the sport of baseball?
I loved the swing off. I thought it was awesome. The Derby the Derby always feels like it needs a little freshening up. It was not one of those where I'm walking away thinking, oh, my God, that was unbelievable. There were unbelievable moments. Seeing O'Neal Cruz hit a ball 513 feet was awesome. But also, like, not being able to appreciate it in the moment because he's got another pitch coming at him right there. Like, they are ever more trying to figure out what the best format of the Derby is, and they still haven't quite landed it yet, but it's almost like the swing off. It's almost like the swing off is, I'm not going to say the new version of the Derby, but a wonderful version of the Derby. And one more quick takeaway. Getting Kate Anderson with the number 3 overall pick in the draft was an absolute coup for the Mariners and the sort of thing that sets them up every bit as much for all of the other things they've done to have a really, really bright future. And it's great to see.
I like the swing off too. Jeff, please promise me that that's not going to become like the new extra innings during the regular season.
I sure hope not.
Oh my God, I will be so angry.
You know what, though, Mike? Like, there are things in life that are great in very small doses, and that is the perfect example.
Yeah,
don't want it all the time.
What league has ever listened to that logic? Hey, let's do shootouts in every hockey game. Hey, this is fun. Let's do it all the time. Like, hey, in-game interviews are fun. Let's do 100 of them. I get very nervous about that. I think that too much of a good thing is something people always forget about. So I hope you're right. Jeff, we will forgive you next time. People wanted us to make you sing in punishment, but I know that's really more of a thrill for you than a punishment. So we'll have to come up with something else.
I will be on later this week if you guys will have me. So we can talk much more in depth about this.
Right. We'll text later. Have fun. Get out of Atlanta safely, and we will talk to Jeff soon.